Hello and welcome to the Federal. Today we have with us Dr. Sridhar Krishnaswamy, author, journalist and international relations expert. Dr. Krishnaswamy has been covering the United States and the United Nations for the past 30 years. Welcome, Mr. Krishnaswamy. Nice to have you here.
Pleasure being here.
In the past few months of the crisis evolving in Iran, India seems to be stuck in a kind of a predicament, not knowing which side to support and where to go. Can you explain us what is the way forward for India's foreign policy from this point of time?
Indian foreign policy should not be put in a position of having to choose sides. We have to look out for what our national interests are. Right now, we import 84% of our oil from overseas, and much of it comes from the Middle East. So we are at a situation in which we have to be worried about the flow of oil. Forget the price of oil. The price of oil is going to go up, and already there is a pressure for us from the United States not to buy Iranian oil, which by all accounts is a good crude apparently. So we are more focused on buying extra from the other Gulfdoms and Sheikdoms like Saudi Arabia. So in a confrontation with Iran, we have to be worried about two things. One, what happens to our people in that part of the world? They say that there are close to about 8 million Indians. Now, not all of them may want to come back, but some of them would like to. That given, do we have the resources to bring them back? Highly unlikely, and we neither have the ships nor the planes to bring back hundreds of thousands of people at short notice. Number two, what do we do in terms of an escalated oil price? So that means you have to take care of the domestic interests. Now, are you going to buy oil at a higher price and still give it at subsidized prices here? So automatically, the government will face a lot of tough choices, not just on the foreign policy front, but also on the domestic front.
Sir, India and Iran have had socio-cultural and historical ties. So how difficult that besides oil, it makes it difficult for India to choose sides?
That's what I said, we should not. We should not choose. We have civilizational relationship with Iran. We need Iran for strategic reasons also. We need Iran for Afghanistan. Well, for stability in Afghanistan, Iran is a critical partner. For us, we are talking about the development of the port of Chabahar, in which we have invested a lot of money. Likewise, Iran is one of the very few OPEC countries that has been supporting India as far as Kashmir is concerned. It may not mean much in substantive terms, but at least on the rhetorical side, there is one country that is on this, that has been on the side of India, compared to our so-called friends of the recent past, who seem to have abandoned India over the issue of Kashmir. So we need to keep the flow of relationship with Iran, not just for security reasons, but for cultural, social, civilizational reasons as well.
So do you think that India can really play a role of a mediator in a de-escalating crisis?
I don't think India would even try to. I don't think what kind of a locus standi we have, just because Prime Minister Modi is good friends with President Rouhani in Iran and President Trump in the US, it doesn't mean that he is in a position to solve the problem between Iran and the US, which is multifaceted. It goes back 40 years. That's a 40-year history that the Americans are trying to settle with Iran today. It goes back to the overthrow of the Shah in 1979 and picking up 52 American hostages in the process. So that's a long, and I call it as the 40-year itch of the Americans. It is now completely unfolded. It is unfolded by way of killing General Soleimani, ostensibly because he was trying to blow up 4 American embassies. There's not a shred of proof for that. Not an ounce, not an iota of proof that he was actually going to do that. In fact, 2 days back, the Defense Secretary, Mr. Esper, has gone on record saying that he didn't have any, he was not shown anything by the Trump administration to prove that.
Yesterday during the Resina dialogues, the Iranian foreign minister had also urged that India can use its good offices to bring about peace in the region and mediate between US and Iran. So do you think US will be acceptable to allow India to be a mediator in this?
No, it's not a question of whether you, of course, listen, what is India going to do in this? They are not going to issue a statement saying kindly escalate the conflict. They'll always say tamper it down, which is good for the region, for the world, and the usual rhetoric that comes with it. And naturally, we are going to say, I'm willing to give my good offices for whatever it's worth. But it's not a question of the US wanting India to mediate or anything like that. Don't forget, not many countries are comfortable with the question of third people mediating anything. It goes for India also. We don't want anybody to come and mediate anything for us. So if that's the case, then why should we mediate between Iran and the US? So I don't think the Americans, as I said some time back, the issue between Iran and the US goes much farther than Soleimani. It goes much back. There's an issue of sanctions. There's the issue of Syria. There's the issue of Lebanon. There's the issue of Israel. So it's a very complicated thing, as you know very well. The entire Middle East is just like a tinder box. It just needs one spark to get the whole thing going. And for all that is, have you heard much from Saudi Arabia of late? We have not. Why? Because they are also watching the situation very anxiously. Because if this thing blows up in the Straits of Hormuz or the Persian Gulf, it is not going to be confined to that area. It will spread. It will spread to all the sheikdoms. It will spread to all the Gulfdoms. Every small country, every small emirate will be affected because they're all sitting on massive resources of oil and natural gas.
Don't you think domestic compulsions in India vis-a-vis oil and an increase in oil prices which subsequently leads to inflation in the country makes India more in a difficult spot compared to other countries in the region to actually play a role to de-escalate tensions in the region?
Listen, if there is a way in which India is going to play a role, I'm all for it. But you have to be clear as to where you're getting into, whether you have a role to play at all. Yes, the escalating oil prices globally will definitely impact India. It will impact the common man. It will impact our economy, which is already taking a beating these days, it seems. And it will impact the region. It's just not India, entire South Asia. Don't forget, much of the growth of South Asia depends on the growth of India. They are all, in a way, they are piggybacking on us. Piggybacking on us. So yes, it has got a cascading effect. So we have to be worried about this conflict not getting out of control, because it is easier to escalate than to de-escalate.
Going back to what India's foreign policy is about, I know it's very difficult for a country in a unipolar world to be non-aligned, and India has left that policy long behind. But there is a tradition in Indian foreign policy and Indian domestic policy of being a kind of a factor in de-escalating tensions. Do you think Indian foreign policy is retreating from that basic principle?
No, I don't think it's a question of retreating. I would argue that Indian foreign policy is in a state of taking a pragmatic look as to what we can do. At one point, we were screaming from the rooftops against Israel. We were more pro-Arab than the Arabs themselves were. Okay, when every country was normalizing relations with the state of Israel, we still wanted to keep them in a way. And it's not until the 90s that we even had any sense of semblance of wanting to normalize. But where is Israel vis-a-vis India today? We are good friends. But that doesn't make Arabs any less of a friends with us. So we have over the years learned to balance our interests. It's not taking all the marbles and putting it in one basket. We are slowly spreading the marbles to see where we should place them.
Will we be wrong if we tell that Indian foreign policy is guided more by realism than idealism at this point of time?
I don't think you'll be wrong at all, and I think that's what it should be. Idealism doesn't get you too far. You have to be realistic as to what you want, because foreign policy of 2020 or of 2050 is far different from what the foreign policy of the 1950s were. Far. 70 years down the line, we look at Indian foreign policy, 72 or 73 years down the line, we have come a very long way. There was a time when as you said, non-aligned movement was the main thing. Now, where is the name today? Right? There was a time, that Cold War, there was a time in which the USA and the then Soviet Union almost came to a nuclear exchange. Now, do we hear anybody talking about nuclear exchange except for one or two failed actors? We don't, because everybody understands the dangers of using nuclear weapons. You don't talk very cheap about using nuclear weapons without understanding what the consequences are.
Even if realism and pragmatism is going to be India's hallmark in foreign policy, especially in dealing crisis between US and Iran, where does it put us in this conflict?
I think it puts us in a very a strong place, that we know what our strengths are, we know what our limitations are. And we are going to tell, at least in private channels, we would be telling both the Iranians and the US to tone down, to tap down, because I think even in the US, everybody knows that an all-out escalation is not in the best. Let me give you a small example. You remember after they killed General Soleimani, the Iranians let loose a barrage of missiles on the American base in Baghdad. Why didn't Mr. Trump respond? He could have responded. Even though nobody was hurt seriously, there's a lot of damage in the bases, he could have responded. He said, okay, this is their way of showing to their domestic audience, I have taken revenge. So he didn't want to escalate it. If he had wanted, suppose, now look at it the other way. Suppose there was tremendous human casualties there. You think he would have kept quiet? No, he wouldn't have. He would have rewritten that area in a global, in terms of the map. So people understand that when you have to escalate, you escalate. When you have to de-escalate, you have to de-escalate. And when you are left in a situation when you have to give the other guy a half a chance to walk away, you have to give the chance.
As much as it is Iran's domestic compulsion to retaliate by way of bombing the American base, do you think this whole conflict is an output of Trump trying to divert attention from his home turf to an international theater?
As far as Trump is concerned, you never know what's in his mind. He said Soleimani was planning to bomb, get rid of 4 embassies, no proof. He said Soleimani had killed thousands of Americans. I don't know what he meant by that. Now, a lot of people are also saying this is one way of Trump trying to divert attention from his own impeachment. Could be, but the fact remains that he is going to be impeached. That impeachment trial is going to proceed no matter what. Now, just because of this, the trial is not going to shut down in a week. That's going to run its normal course. But then you have an election that's going to come up on November 3rd this year. There you'll have to see, because it's a long time between now and November. It remains to be seen.
Do you think that India's response to this crisis is not connected to the government in power at this point of time? Do you think it would have been any different if it was another dispensation which was governing the country now, India?
I don't think how this crisis has got to do anything with India.
Do you think that the response of the government would have been any
I don't think it would have been any different. You know, there is a market, if you go back and look, it does not matter whether Mr. Manmohan Singh let me go even further. It wouldn't have mattered if it were Mr. Gujral sitting here, Mr. Vajpayee sitting, Mr. Manmohan, or for that matter, it wouldn't have made a difference, because basically our foreign policy has always been not to jump into the fray without thinking.
Thank you, sir, for coming to our studio.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me here.